First of all, you're going to do your citations in the form of footnotes. As, for example, here's an essay that I did in the history department at U of T some time back. Footnotes at the bottom of the page. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Yes, good.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason historians like to see their footnotes at the bottom of the page is partly a historical essay. It's a persuasive argument based on evidence. It's almost like a courtroom argument where you have an argument and you present evidence. Your footnotes are the exhibits. And so when you argue in the courtroom, you introduce Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C in parallel to your argument. And that's the way we like to read historical arguments. So when you say something on the page, I want to know what the evidence is, and I don't want to be flipping to the back of the essay or moving back and forth from page 1 to page 20 and so forth. I want to see it at the bottom of the page. Thus, Chicago style footnotes. You are graded essentially on the kind of conclusions and statements you argue with the evidence. And so the evidence sometimes is a much larger weight in your assessment of your essay, how persuasive and how good your evidence is. Two people can make the same argument, but the evidence, one person may have a better evidence than the other person for that same argument. So even if the argument is valid, the person with the better evidence is the one that gets graded better. So it's all about the quality of your evidence and how relevant is your evidence and so forth. So as I'm assessing your essay or any historical argument, my one eye is reading your argument, my other eye is tracking your evidence at the bottom of the page. So how you actually do it here, at least in Microsoft Word, I'll show you how you just can do a footnote. Let's say I want to insert a footnote at Buffalo, New York. Okay. You will then look at the reference ribbon, and very simple, right here you see insert footnote. Bang. It automatically inserts for you. You can see it inserted number 2, a blank footnote. So your first footnote for a particular source, let's say just the author is John Smith. The title is going to be in italics. Title of book. Okay. You will then give the city of publication, let's say New York, the publisher, and the page number, the year of publication, let's say 2020, and then you will give the page number that you are referencing. So let's say page 45. And that's it. There you go. If you click back on the actual number, it should take you back up into the text where that footnote appears up there. Or if you hover over it, there you can see the footnote you've just entered, John Smith. Okay. It automatically does the numbering for you. Don't try to do this manually. It'll drive you crazy. Use the insert footnote function. So that's the first footnote. Now let's say a few sentences later, I want to use that same book, but from a different page. Let's say here at Telegraph Terminals. Okay, insert footnote. Notice it's now moved up the numbering to 3 there. And now, since I've already introduced this source once, all I have to do is just write Smith, page, let's say it's 2 pages in this case, page 92, 93. Okay? That's how you would do your second, third, and fourth entry. If you have books by the same author, obviously you then, when you add Smith, you would add the title of the book to differentiate between the two different books that the same author wrote. But you only need to give me this full bibliographical entrance in your footnotes the first time. After that, just the author and the page number. Any questions about that? Okay, let's look at some of these footnote formats here. See if I can give you a closer look at that fine print here. So, newspapers, again, the only thing, by the way, in italics are titles, foreign terms, like Gleichschaltung, titles of newspaper, titles of books or journals. Quotations should not be in italics. I don't know why people put them. That's the only thing you're using for italics. Let's see. There's a lot of. Here's a book, for example, again. Jack Smith, Hank Johnson, editors, Globalization and Resistance, Transnational Social Movement, your typical entry for a book. Books, I'm trying to find some journal entries for you. Here, for example, is a collection of articles that are located in a book. So the actual article is Brian Reed. When you're giving a title of the article or a title of a chapter in particular in a collection of articles, you put that in quotation marks, as you have seen there. And then the book itself, the editor, and the book title is in italics. Here you see, for example, again, a book, William Darcy, The Fenian Movement in the United States, Washington, D.C., Catholic University Press, right? Once I've made that entry, the next time I come across Darcy, all I have to do is just give this, Darcy, and the page numbers. You're not probably going through archives, so you don't need to worry about archival citations. You can look up citations for the Nuremberg trials. Often the blue series are cited as MIT, the volume number, and then the page number. Again, books, papers, newspaper, the Globe, date November 7th and 19th, 1864 off, and that's enough. Again, these are books. I'm looking for you a formatting of an argument, of an article. Here, for example, is from a journal article, and certainly those of you who are planning to get a decent mark are using journal articles as that's a basic start. Doris Dashew, The Story of an Illusion is the title. The Plan to Trade Alabama Claims for Canada, in quotation marks. The journal, Civil War History, is in italics. and then you, depending on how the magazine is formatted, you're going to give the date of publication, the month, volume number, issue number, and then the pages. As it appears, as if it was, even if you're taking it down from JSTOR, from the internet, I don't need your JSTOR static URL for it. Give me the citation as you would if you were reading it on paper. Here's another example of an article again. David E. Shai, Seward's attempt to annex British Columbia, in the Pacific Historical Review, May 1978, volume 47, issue 2, and so forth. I think that's the primary sources you'll be citing. Documentary films, you will cite the production company, the producer, where and when that particular documentary was broadcast or produced. I think that may cover it. Websites, obviously, you know how to cite those. You're citing the website. You're giving me the link. You're giving me the retrieval date. You retrieved it. Anything that you're not sure of, I put a whole bunch of links up there for you to Chicago style note formatting. But like I said, the key here is every citation has a page number. Every citation is a footnote. I don't want to see it inside the text. And I will fail without any opportunity for you to resubmit. I repeat, again, everybody, mark my words, I will fail any essay that does not provide me with page numbers for every individual citation, where there are page numbers. Obviously, a website might not quite have page numbers, so that's the only, or a videotape. A videotape, you're going to give me the minutes, the minute where it is on, and you'll give me the link to the video, the minute where that particular citation, the material appears that you're citing. Any questions about citations? I also have, as I usually get, I have a lot of essays on medicine, medical issues, physicians, from Operation T4, the quote euthanasia, medical murder, to experimentation, to ramp selection, and so forth. There is on my course website, there is a page giving you a wide variety of, since I get this so often and since I'm personally interested in it, references to sources on medical history in Nazi Germany. It may not be the most up to date, but there's a lot of stuff there. One of the key readings, if I didn't mention it in my response to your proposal, Jay Lifton, Nazi Doctors, that's kind of a seminal book that looks at all three, ramp, duty, where doctors are selecting who lives, who dies, experimentation, like the kind Dr. Josef Mengele carried out, and the euthanasia project. It is the master book. It's a good book to start off with, if you can get a hold of it. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be available on Kindle, so I don't know whether Ryerson Library has it in some ebook format, but if you can get it, it's very helpful. If you can't, the sources I've been looking at so far are okay for those medical essays, and if it's not, I would have indicated that to you in my response to your proposal. Again, remember, you can change your proposal, your subject anytime, your sources, you can add, take away the sources that you put in your proposal. You don't have to do another proposal for me. If you're going to change the subject of your essay, you could check in with me just to double check that you're not going into some kind of territory, but you don't need to do a formal proposal with, just tell me what it's about, and you don't need to go into a formal proposal with a bibliography if you're going to change it. That happens often. You start researching and suddenly you go, wow, this is really much more interesting than what I set out to research, and feel free to pursue your interest. I want you to write about something that you're enjoying writing about, that you're interested in, that you're going to be passionate about. So I'd rather you do that. That'll get you a better grade if your heart is in the essay rather than it just being some assignment that you have to do. Any questions about any of that or anything just in general?
I have a question about citations.
Yes.
For interviews or like testimony videos, I had a hard time finding when they were published, but they gave the date when the interview took place.
That's okay.
That's okay?
That's okay, yeah.
And
And go
go
ahead.
ahead. The interviews that I found were on YouTube, but they were originally put on a website where you can't get access to them unless you go into like the museum. So
Mhm.
should I reference it's from like their original website where they would have posted it or from YouTube?
Yeah, do both. If you give a longer citation, it's not going to hurt you. So do where I can actually find that piece, and then note where it originally appeared, right? So mention the museum or the website, even if I can't access it. Give me as much information where if I need to, I kind of look at your evidence and then I say, who said this? Where did this come from? Who put this up? Give me as much information for me to be able to look into your evidence and explore your evidence. You're kind of guiding me to the quality of your evidence. So give me everything I need to be able to find that evidence in the same way that you had found it.
Okay, thank you.